When people come in to see me, a lot of times they want to know how much is this divorce going to cost? Well, I can't tell you exactly how much it's going to cost because it really depends on a number of factors. The first being, is it going to be uncontested or contested? If it's going to be uncontested, then the cost is going to be substantially lower. But sometimes even an uncontested case can turn into something a little more complicated and more expensive. Like I told you in another video, especially if there are a lot of assets. If you have lots of assets, you may have the cost of a qualified domestic relations order to divide your retirement. You might have deeds. And of course, you're going to have court costs. Then the other thing that can cause the cost to rise is if you are negotiating for a long time, because that's going to take legal fees. You might think that you have it all worked out, and then there may be additional fees because you don't actually have all the terms. And when it comes to a contested divorce, really it can be very expensive. But there are things you can do to prevent it from spiraling out of control. You can have all of your questions ready when you meet with your lawyer instead of calling or emailing or meeting with them many, many times. I'm always happy to see my clients, but a lot of times they'll come in and not really have a clear focus on what they want to talk about. And every time you come in, that's going to cost you money. If you email, that's going to cost you money. It's much more effective if you have a list of what you want to focus on, and then we can knock that out. Another thing that is going to save you a lot of money is in the course of discovery, if you will organize and find the things that has been requested by the opposing counsel, it's going to save you so much time and money. Because one of the things that costs a lot is going back and forth asking you, please provide your bank statements, please provide your emails, provide copies of your credit cards. All of those things just cost you money if you don't have it together. And you much rather spend your money on something more substantive, I'm sure, than spending it on just getting documents. But that's part of the whole case. I mean, there are things you can do to make it less because you might think, is this really worth sending a letter to the opposing counsel? For instance, let's say that you have a credit card bill and it's $100. That's all you owe. Well, you want them to pay their 50. Well, let's think about for a second. If your lawyer sends a letter, how much more is it going to cost than that money that you would have spent on the credit card? You kind of have to balance. Is it worth it? Sometimes it's going to be worth it. Sometimes you absolutely are going to want to say, you've got to do this. I want you to pay this. But if it's not going to pay off in the long run, then many times I say, we don't need to do that. So hopefully you'll be able to keep the cost down, but I can't promise you that because in the midst of a divorce case, many things can occur. Like you might need an emergency hearing on issues of custody or issues regarding finances. And if that happens, that's going to cost more money. And we hope that we can settle in mediation. And mediation often gets you to a place where you can resolve it and that costs less. If you have to go all the way to a trial, then it's going to cost a lot more. So I hope that helps you have a better idea of how much the costs are on divorce. And with that, you can make some decisions about which way you want to go. I would always suggest to do your best to talk to your spouse and work out an agreement. But I know that's not always possible.